Okay. So I am going to start by myself. Hopefully. Well, I'm not gonna say hopefully. Something good to that because uh I'm black, and one of the things that you get told in black households are when it's raining and thunder and lightning, you get somewhere and sit down and turn all the lights off and all that stuff up. So hey, if I had somebody in here with me, I would have to put my headphones on, and I ain't never heard of nobody getting popped by lightning that way, but it's just one of those things in black culture you just think is a possibility. So hey, don't have to wear the headphones. But I am in here with the lights on and all that good stuff. Got a couple of things lined up to talk about today. I guess the guys will jump in here later. If not, I need those comments. Talk to me. But anywho, so one of the first things that we had on the agenda to talk about today was to give our final thoughts on the Drake and Kendrick fiasco. Um, and it's definitely turned into a fiasco. I started off telling everybody that both of them are lying. This is before stuff just got crazy, before the crazy weekend. This was after Euphoria and 616 in LA. I was like, you know what? I've analyzed all this stuff, and I think that both of them are lying. Now I don't know what to believe. It is so much stuff out there concerning this. The only thing that I can kind of believe is true is that the beef is over. Um, and Kendrick won, by the way. Uh, but it's some stuff that can sway my opinion depending on who line and information comes out and all that type of stuff. But for the most part, Kendrick was the better rapper, the better plotter, all of that. But I tell you something. The other day, I went and listened to two things just randomly. Listened to Black Panther, the soundtrack for the original Black Panther, and then I listened to Certified Lover Boy. Um, Black Panther is one of my favorite Kendrick projects, but you can't really call it a Kendrick project. But Certified Lover Boy, that was the first time that I went back and listened to that album in a while, and I just listening to it, I was like, this should be put into contention for classic for Drake. But it's one of those things. I remember at the time when it came out, a lot of people didn't really rock with it like that simply because a lot of that music leaked. So since it leaked, no one thought, no one. It wasn't new music, not a new experience for him. But I didn't listen to the leak, so it didn't hit me like that. But one of the things that I took from it is that Drake was shooting at Kendrick all over that album. So during Scorpion, and Scorpion is another one of the Drake projects that I like. He coming off the Pusha T and Kanye fiasco, I feel like he was shooting at Kanye that whole album. And then Certified Lover Boy, he's shooting at Kanye, Pusha T, and Kendrick. But it's a difference. You can shoot at Pusha T again. Drake's mistake with Pusha T was ever acknowledging him in the first place. He dropped Duppy, and then that shined light on what Pusha was gonna do next. But in that instance, he was the bigger artist. So if he sends us a sub, if you catch the sub, Pusha catch the sub. But I want to say that Push this Drake a couple of weeks ago, not a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago in Paris, and not too many people realized it. Simply because on his own, I mean, Push can rap, but on his own, he just doesn't have the star power to bring in the eyes and the ears like Drake. Apart from Drake, that's different with Kendrick. That's very different with Kendrick. Drake can't talk like a while ago. So many people were saying that J. Cole can't talk greasy anymore. To an extent, I understand, but I don't really understand because with every day that went by in this battle between Kendrick and Drake, I recognized exactly why Cole got out of it. Um, he thought that it was just going to be a lyrical exercise between the big three because even on my delete later, he was shooting at Kendrick and Drake all over that album. So he thought it was just going to be a lyrical exercise amongst friends, and then he quickly realized that no, Drake don't like Kendrick. Kendrick don't like Drake. This, yeah, let me get out. I don't want to be caught in the middle of what's about to happen. And good decision. So to an extent, Cole can still talk like that. Drake cannot do his normal post beef scenario. He cannot drop an album that's riddled with Kendrick subs. I believe the moment Kendrick feels like there's a subliminal or a straight shot, he's coming right back. And just from the optics of it, because even though I have Kendrick winning, I don't believe the gap was as big as others made it out to be. It just was not judged. It wasn't judged fairly, but the gap wasn't as big as others made it out to be. Um, Regardless, though, Kendrick was the better performer. Better performer, better rapper, better everything. Euphoria is literally, I know that we're all in love with Not Like Us right now, but Euphoria was really, really, really the work of art. Like it made me Euphoria is what made me realize, dang, we are really dealing with a Pulitzer Prize winner. This is literally an author. Like the way that he structured this um was amazing. And I feel like Euphoria is really the shining star of this whole fiasco. Um, but yeah, I do not believe that Drake can come and drop an album that's full of subliminals. He can't take the same motivation that he normally has at the war. Um, he just can't do that. If he does that, it's not gonna work out great for him. It's just not. Um, so those are my thoughts concerning that. Um, yeah, those are my thoughts concerning that. On to other things that are happening. I believe right now everybody is seeking attention in the industry because of the attention that Kendrick and Drake is getting are getting. And some of it I can do without. The game this was kind of cool. Um it's kind of cool. But I heard what's his name? Is it Justin? Justin Combs? I think I heard I think I might have heard like 30 seconds, 20 seconds or something like that on something that I was watching on YouTube. And yeah, not right now. I don't know if there ever be a time for it, but not right now. Um, yeah, but one thing that I will say that is kind of crazy until I saw one. Um, anytime Soldier Boy is online is funny. Anytime Soldier Boy is online is funny. He's given us some very memorable internet social media moments. Like who say Big Soldier can't come to the hood, Drake, all that type of stuff. I believe Soldier to be a troll, but it's certain things that I just, trolling is a part of our everyday society. Trolling is just a thing. Um, I don't agree with it, but trolling happens. But I do think that there comes a time when you cross a line. So I thought it was interesting to see um 21 Savage pop back out this week. And then he find himself getting into it with Soldier Boy, and I thought that it was just a funny uh exchange until he said that he was smoking on Metro's mama pack. um and that's when trolling goes wrong. I don't know. I think Soldier Boy lives in California now. Definitely can't live in Atlanta doing that because you're arguing with 21 Savage about this. I don't think 21 Savage or Metro Boomin is going to take that lightly. Um, I just don't understand that. Like, I just I don't come from that. It's certain stuff like what I come from is just certain stuff that you can't say unless you're ready to deal with the repercussions of what comes from that. And a lot of times I think when we get online and we say things online and we are attempting to get likes and comments and all that type of stuff and just gain eyes in certain moments. Some people play with things that should not be played with. So I think that this is interesting. And I don't think that it's gonna work out the way that he wanted to work out. There's certain ways in moments in which you just shouldn't play like that. But hey, to each his own. I hope everything works out for everybody in the situation. Um, so let's switch gears. Let's switch gears and bring up. Let's switch gears and bring and talk about the NBA. I have been enjoying the playoffs. I don't want to quit that and reopen that. Okay. Let's see. What can I do to bring that in there? I did not expect that was about to happen right then. Um, let's see. Is it gonna allow me? Yep, there we go. All right, great. So let's bring out the bracket. Let's see where we at. Um, before we get here, let's talk about um let's talk about MVP. And I told myself that I was not going to be talking about any awards because I don't respect them. I do not respect these awards. After I saw what they did to Victor Wembanyama and not giving him the defensive player of the year, when all you got to do is bring up the stats. Bring up the stats. Look at the stats. You don't have to look at the votes. Like if you look at the votes, look at the stats, then look at the votes. You will think that it's a lot of people in the NBA media that need to lose their credentials. He had more in every defensive stat. Victor Wembanyama was at least 30% better than Rudy Gobert. And in the really big ones, he was like 65, 75% better. Like almost had double the amount of blocks. Had I want to say like point 0.3, point 0.4 more steals per game. Deflections, deterrence, all of those things. No one is trying to drive on someone that is 7'4", probably with a 8-foot wingspan. No one wants to drive on him. So Rudy Gobert, yes, he has been the big bad the last 5 years, but no one is as afraid of Rudy as they are of Victor Wembanyama. Now you got some people in the league that don't care anything about neither one of them. Like John Morant, he see either one of them in the paint, and it's like he he gets up for it. He's trying to dunk on one of them. But no, it's only a few players in the league that's gonna try both of them. A few. And all of them are young. I don't see, even though we done seen LeBron do 1,000,001 dunks over his 20-year career, I don't think that he's trying to attempt one of them because that's a long day. Anywho, I said that I wasn't talking about awards afterwards. So it's funny to see people then turn around and say that SGA, Shea Gillis Alexander, was robbed. I don't I don't necessarily know if I agree with that because so many people say, "Oh, they were number one in the West." Like, does does them being number one in the West really matter when it took the last day of the season to figure out if the Thunder, Denver, and Minnesota, which one was going to be number one? So does that mean MVP just goes to whoever number one was by that logic? No. I think people have Joker fatigue, and I get it. When you that reminds me of something else I wanted to talk about. Yeah, yeah. So I think a lot of people have Joker fatigue, but at the same time, like Joker deserves it. Um, SGA, phenomenal year. Um, I do believe that he'll be better, but Joker, what Joker does from the five position in my mind is crazy. There's a lot of people out there that say that he's not athletic enough, but I don't really think that he has to be athletic enough when he has all of the other abilities and he's a center. Like literally, I believe that he has the same IQ, if not the same, in the ballpark of LeBron. So LeBron, Chris Paul, all of these high IQ players, Joker is that. And his what's the word? It's escaping me right now. His court vision. His court vision is amazing also. So just to see how he can affect the game in so many ways uh, from the five position is crazy to me. And he's not a prototypical five that you would expect in the league today. You would expect, someone that can run the floor, someone that can shoot threes, all that type of stuff. He is a prototypical old center. Like as far as having a footwork is back you down, and he can shoot a little bit. As far as from three. But he's just not. I don't. He will, but he's not like where Embiid to take the ball and try to push it up court. Anthony Davis to take the ball and try to push it up court. But the offense does run through him, and I believe that I'm not mad at Joker getting it. I will say that at the point of time, like this might have been his last one before that fatigue really starts to set in. Because it's normally around two or three. How many does Giannis have? How many MVPs does Giannis have? I want to say two or three. Um LeBron has four or three or four. Um and unfortunately, these are the games that you play when the writers of yesteryear had fatigue in areas in which they should have given it to him. Like Jordan was literally he played 12 years. I'm not gonna say that 12 is 12 years, but a good a good 8 9 of them he was playing at nah 8 7 8. He was playing at MVP caliber, but you don't give him it all the time. you give it to other people just because you're tired of giving it to Jordan. And then now you get on up the line, and then you have these same writers that feel that LeBron is not better than Jordan. So since he's not better than Jordan, we can't allow him to have more MVPs than Jordan. So now LeBron doesn't get the amount of MVPs that he should get. Shaq didn't get the amount that he should get. Kobe didn't get the amount that he should have got. So when you start to play these games, then people start to look at it and say, well, I mean, should he have got more than such and such, opposed to judging it by the year that they're in? So I wouldn't have been mad if Shea got it. I wouldn't have been mad if wouldn't have been mad if Luca got it. Um, but I don't think that this was one of the years where there was a clear cut MVP. But you know what? There was a clear cut player in category, defensive player of the year. You should have gave it to Victor Wembanyama. Anywho, so I just brought up Joker, and it got me to another beef. Um, you know, I hate at times when two people are both right, but look at each other as if they are wrong. And then for one person to get in their feelings. And well, I'm not necessarily saying get in his feelings. I can understand that, but um Shaq and Shannon Sharp. Oh boy. Excuse me. I shouldn't have did that in the microphone. Shaq and Shannon Sharp. Um they had a back and forth. Shaq dropped a diss track. I didn't listen to that one either. But dropped a diss track. And it all spurred from Shaq telling Joker to his face that I don't think that you should have won MVP. And Shannon perceived that to be hate and kind of took that as an opportunity. And I don't think that Shannon said anything wrong outside of calling it hate. You don't know what another man's intention is. It could have been hate. It possibly wasn't. And I understand the argument that people have saying that, should he have done it on air, etc. I don't know. But um Shannon said some things, and he basically said that, what kind of player would Shaq have been had he had my work ethic? And even in his rebuttal to Shaq, he further explained, saying that he worked as hard as possible, and he left it all out there. He knew that he wasn't mad where his stamp on the game lied, simply because he know he gave it all that he had. He couldn't get any more out of it. Um and that's the knock on Shaq. That's definitely the knock on Shaq. The knock on Shaq is that he didn't work hard enough. Kobe said it. That's one of the reasons why Kobe didn't want to play with him. That's why Kobe didn't want to be number two to him. It's like, I work my butt off, and I have to concede to you. And I I understand Shaq's standpoint of it. I mean, that's something that they worked out. But as far as I I understand both arguments of it. Like, Shaq was the most dominant big man that we've ever seen. The only person that you can like even bring up in the same sentence as Shaq is Wilt. And I'm not gonna lie, if someone like an old school basketball fan watches this, then they may disagree with me. But at some point in time, like, bro, a lot of people live and didn't see Wilt. And a lot of people live and can't see Wilt because a lot of his dominance was not caught by a camera. We didn't see Wilt in his 100-point game. but I saw Kobe in them 82. So with that being said, like me personally, I'm gonna get Shaq denied simply because I seen Shaq with my own two eyes. But yeah, Shaq, most dominant player ever. Um, and when it comes to that, like he didn't have the best work ethic. He didn't take care of his body. Most definitely don't take care of his body like the players of today do, as far as like paying attention into paying attention to what they eat, etc. All these different workouts that that are created to, you know, help give you longevity. Like Shaq didn't have that, and his body failed him at some point in time. But maybe that's one of the things people were saying. If he would have just worked a little bit harder and cared about his body a little bit more, then maybe he would have been a little bit better. But etc. That was the crux of the argument. And Shaq basically came back and bombed on him and said that you're not top 10 in anything. I don't know. Did he say that he was top 10 in his position? But I think he basically said that you're not top 10 in your sport. Which is right. Shannon Sharp is not top 10 in his sport. Um, which, that's kind of unfair to say is way more football players than basketball players over the course of time, simply because, it takes more people to play football than basketball. But so that kind of skews the number a little bit. Shannon might be top 10. And I don't think it might be. He's a top 10 tight end. This would have been a good Reds question. But yeah, I in my brain, he's a top 10. Might be left outside of the top 5, but I only think that's because of the tight ends that we've seen in my generation of football. Like Shannon was more, 90s, still was 2000, but when I was old enough to really, really care about football and pay attention to football, I think Shannon was out here by then. Um, but yeah, you got a bunch of people out there, Antonio Gates, I don't know about Shockey, but Gronk, and then all of this crop of them that's out there now. When you compare them, I still think that Shannon is top 10 because Shannon was a monster. But anywho, yeah, that was a back and forth, and I think that both of them had points and both of them were right, but I don't know, somewhere in the midst that just wasn't understanding of one another, and I think that it might have fell on the fact of Shannon calling it hate because we don't know his intention. Maybe he does look at Joker and say, "Ain't nowhere in the world that he's supposed to have two more MVPs than me," but we don't know what Shaq's intention was behind that. So, hey, you never know. But yeah, let's get back to the playoffs. Let's talk playoffs. Let me pull this up. So where we at? Thunder versus the Mavs. And see, this goes back to what I was saying, true number one. Anybody could have been in this position. The Thunder is a good team. The Thunder kicked us out of the playoffs. Um, but you know, I think this is the time where the Mavericks might be able to get through there. The Mavericks might be able to get through there. They end up drawing the Timberwolves. I think they got a better shot. Uh, I think there's a lot of people out there in America though that's pulling to see Mavericks versus Nuggets. But hey, I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, it's time for me to get off here and go to bed. Um, the Timberwolves, man, I like Ant. I like Ant, and I was so mad watching that game yesterday. Ant started off on fire, and he just kept the fire. And it seemed like every time where he got the cooking, here come Cat forcing a play. And that type of stuff will really bother you trying to maintain a lead and get out of the hole. That's just me. Cat was like, I literally feel like he needed to be investigated yesterday. Um, and I don't know the position that this young team finds himself in. Uh, like, so I'm pretty sure they'll still have Rudy Gobert, but I be he'll doing the little money sign, and he done already got fined $100,000 for that before. I don't know where we go with that. The league could try to, bring the hammer down and say, okay, we are we are suspending you for a game. I doubt it, especially in the playoffs. But since it's a second time offense, you don't know. But anywho, let's see. I go down and rank them. I think the Mavs gonna win. Out of the Mavs and Thunder. Are they playing tonight? Yeah, they playing tonight. Um, I don't know. I don't even want to call this Timberwolves Nugget game series. It seemed as if the Timberwolves were gonna run away with it, but it's just that championship pedigree. That's something that you got to really deal with. That's real. Like they have been here before. They done had their backs across the wall before. And then you got, a lot of young teams in this playoffs. Might have some older players on there, but young teams that ain't been there before. So the Thunder, that's a young team. Timberwolves, that's a young team. Pacers, and one could even say the Knicks. Like I'm talking about having playoff experience. Jalen Brunson has playoff experience, but like Josh Hart doesn't have a lot of playoff experience. Uh Devin I always mess his name up. I'm not even gonna try it. Um I think he might have a little he got playoff experience, but anywho, I mean we don't know what's gonna happen on that front. I don't know. It looked like the Timberwolves was gonna get it, but we don't know. So I wanna say that yesterday was bad for them. Not winning that game yesterday, especially when they were in it, especially when they started the game off like 10 points up. You gotta find a way to win that game. When you're dealing with the champions, you gotta find a way to win that game. Um, so I think yesterday might end up being a downfall. I think they may end up losing to the Nuggets. The Nuggets turn around and get the job done simply because the Timberwolves could not get the job done. But regardless, I want to put everybody on notice. Come next year, and and is a problem this year. I think next year he'll be in NBA he'll be in MVP contention. But hey, uh so this game is going on now. Let's jump in there and check and see what's going on. Oh no, this game is not going on. They have been beaten already. So I mean, it's already I mean, we can say what's going on there. I don't think. But let's see. Let me. I'm gonna play play a drop.
Man, damn, call like Amber Lambs. Tell him, breathe, bro.
Yeah, it's a wrap. The Cavs are going out of here. They probably going to end up losing Donovan Mitchell. I don't think he played today. Yeah, he didn't play today, did he? Yeah. Well, nobody's saying, but I don't think that he played today. I forgot the reason in which they said that he wasn't playing. But yeah, I don't think he played today. So I mean that's that with that series. That series is over. Uh and for the last series, I really don't know how to call this one either. Let me just go here to get back to it. I don't know how to call this game either. I don't know. I don't know what's up with this Pacers and Knicks. It looked like the Knicks was gonna run away with it, and then they got hurt, which is prototypical of a Tom Thibodeau team. So I don't know. I don't know if the Knicks are gonna be able to bounce back from this one because they gave Indiana new life when they could have easily, had they been healthy. I'm not gonna say easily, but they could have possibly even swept them. Gentleman sweep for sure. Um, but yeah, the Knicks might find themselves in trouble. Um, and I think that's all I had to say about basketball. But it's looking like, and I was kind of looking forward to watching the Knicks play the Celtics. But yeah, it's looking like the Celtics will go back it out of the. Looking like the Celtics are gonna make it out of the East. I have no idea who's gonna make it out of the West, but just for the sake of saying that they have been there before, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the Nuggets. But the Mavericks might be able to eclipse them and get there. But one thing I tell you, if the Mavericks get no, it's an X factor. I was finna say if the Mavericks get there, I don't have them beating the Celtics. But if there's one person in the league that hates the Celtics, it's Kyrie. And Kyrie is one of my favorite players of all time. I think that he's the most skilled basketball player. I don't know. I get in trouble when I say that. I try not to say that publicly, but the man is a skilled basketball player. Like when it comes to being able to do all things, the boy is nice. And he's top 3 all times in 2 categories in my book. I think he's the best dribbler of all times, got the best handles of all times. And then on top of that, I think when it comes to around the basket, the layup package, I think that he's top 3 in that also. Like it's been so many circus shots that he just done made when he got close to that basket. And then everything else he's just proficient at. He can do. Um, so I don't know. I can't sit back there and say that. If they end up making it that can end up being a good series there. But speaking of a former Celtic, I don't quite know how I feel about Big Baby getting 40 months for insurance fraud. Now you shouldn't be committing fraud, but I just want to let it be known that it's a clear. I think I needed that yawn so I could actually think for a second. I was finna say it's a clear discrepancy between Big Baby and then other people in other sports like Brett Favre. But then I thought about it. Don't necessarily know if there was a discrepancy. Can't necessarily call that racism. Uh, I can just say I can say that it could possibly be star power. Brett Favre was a superstar. Glenn Big Baby Davis has never been a superstar. So I would say that superstar privileges do come along with being a superstar. But then after that, we can start talking about discrepancies amongst certain superstars and other superstars. Uh, I could bring up some, but I'm not really here for that. And honestly, there are a couple of things that I wanted to talk about further, but it's just me tonight, and I done gave y'all 43 minutes. Um, and it is hard when you're sitting here just talking by yourself. Um, no, nobody else to bounce off of, and no comments. So, you know, I think I did a pretty okay job, and I'm gonna go get in the stream kind of early and go get back to my family and go get me some shut eye. So this has been another episode of the Terms and Conditions podcast, brought to you by the Big Game brand and Love's Travel Stop. Um, and that is all. And I will holler at y'all next Monday. Oh, by the way, I do want to talk about I did name it the regularly scheduled program because we are outside of beef. So since there is no more beef, we don't have to do any more emergency podcasts. So hopefully it continues to be that way. Not none of these other little ancillary pieces when it comes to the rap game. We're not talking about gonna do no emergency podcast for the game. uh but if you know some of the big boys get back to scrapping, then we'll have to come in here and do one. But it's been nice to get back to our regularly scheduled Monday programming. But hey, like I said, after that, well, I've already ended the show. I just wanted to say that. So we'll see y'all next Monday. Thank y'all. Good night.